Styles win fights, baby. For number 9, we have Nathaniel Dell. He's outside Coach Steve's top 10. Both John and Dan have him 8th, and he's had, oh wow, 3,155 yards, 228 receptions, 32 touchdowns in 3 seasons, and 109 receptions, basically 1,400 yards, and 17 touchdowns. And he ran a 4.49, just under 4.5. So, Dan, I'll let you start us off. You're the guest.
Yeah, so I talked last about Hutchinson and how I saw him at the Senior Bowl and a little underwhelmed. And Tank Dell was the exact opposite. He was just out there winning all his routes, getting open, super fast in one-on-ones. Quick story that's going to stick with me throughout this whole draft process is, I think it was on practice day 3, the Panthers corner coach was coaching the defensive backs, and they were doing this one-on-one drills. And it wasn't like a volunteer basis about who would go out there, but they'd grab a guy and send him out, all right, you go up one-on-one against this guy. None of the defensive backs of the Senior Bowl wanted to go up against Nathaniel Dell, because you have to remember they're there getting tape on as well as the wide receivers. So they didn't want to go out there because they all knew that they were going to get put into a blender, and they didn't want that tape on their resume for teams to look at. So that kind of describes the level of week Nathaniel Dell had at the Senior Bowl. Now, listen, I'm not saying the guy's the next Antonio Brown, because let's be honest, he's super, super small. I think I currently weigh more than him, and I am far less athletic when it comes to the wide receiver position. So I am concerned about how he's going to win at the next level. I feel like he will easily be bodied and bullied and pushed around if a corner can get hands on him. But the good thing is, I got to say, he gets open so quick, it's hard to get hands on him. So he wins in a very specific way. And he's the type of player where I can move off my position very quickly. If I see, like, through 4 weeks that he's being bodied at the NFL level, and that was my concern coming into this pre-draft process, then I can quickly move off of, whatever Nathaniel Dell shares I have, because that's a confirmation of the worry that I had about him.
Smart.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny. I wanted to ask you about Nathaniel Dell at the Senior Bowl, because he really did, show out. I remember I'll never forget the release that he had where he literally crisscrossed and then ran around in the end zone on this guy. I'm like, I've never seen a release like that. It's just like it looks, and when you watch it on film too, it just looks like he's out there just faster, quicker than everybody. It's like, oh, okay, but you're right. In the NFL, where space is a premium and guys are bigger, stronger, faster, does that translate? And you're right. I don't know. I put in my notes, could be higher. Like, if he lands in like Kansas City and Andy Reid gets his hands on him and space is not a problem, because they're doing a million different things to create space for him, then yeah, he's going to be awesome. But you can't Jimmy rig Nathaniel Dell into any offense and have it work. That's the problem. And so I don't know. I think he's a good player. I like a lot about him, but 162 pounds that's a tough hurdle to try and jump in the NFL to be successful at that size.
How tall is he?
5'8".
5'8", 162.
He's my height, Jibs.
That's that in my notes.
Very tiny.
Listen, if you're listening, Nathaniel, I love you. That is a tough pill to swallow going into the NFL. That's all.
Yeah, he's obviously fast. He has a lot of great qualities you love in a wide receiver, but for me, obviously the size, it's a major issue. I don't see him ever really being a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1, obviously, for a team. Wide receiver 3, kind of a guy who can be somewhat of a gadget player. Obviously, a little bit more, I think, than a gadget player. Better. I think he'd be better than Kadarius Toney has shown us so far in the NFL. But I just don't see him being a prototypical wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 for fantasy for an NFL team at this point. And honestly, he's got a drop issue. He had 21 drops over the last 2 seasons now, and he's a fast wide receiver. I love that, but I just don't see him being a prototypical wide receiver. So that's kind of why he's outside my top 10. My top 10 are more players that I feel that can be wide receiver 2s and 1s at that next level. I don't know if Dell can.
Steve, imagine him in the Dolphins.
I mean, I'll be the big fan then.
I'm back in, baby. I'm back in.
That's
They'll just be
like
running
honestly,
all over
that's
you.
like the type of team that I'd want him to land on is like
Sure.
somebody who's going to create the space for him with pre-snap motions and things like that. And I think Mike McDaniels would be the perfect coach to pair with his skill set.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously people
undrafted to do that. I think.
What's that?
He'd have to go undrafted, and I don't see that happening. So. He's gonna be a great return man. Mark my word. Great.